Hare Krishna. We are in the last verse of the third chapter, that is Karma Yoga of Bhagwat Gita as it is. Yoga means to get connected to, and Karma Yoga means to get connected by karma or actions. Now the question is this, that with whom this connection has to be established. So Krishna himself is giving us the answer that we need to reconnect ourselves with Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we have the answer, then why are we not connecting ourselves with Krishna? What is stopping us? That answer we are going to get straight from Krishna. So keep watching the video till the end and get the perfect solution from none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Krishna. First, let's recite the shlok number 43, which is the last shlok in Karma Yoga. Evam buddhehe param buddhva संस्तभ्यात्म नमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम् एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्म नमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम. Evam thus, buddheः of intelligence, param superior, buddhava so knowing, sanstabhya by steadying, atmanam the mind, atmana by deliberate intelligence, jahi conquer, Shatrum, the enemy, Mahabaho, O mighty armed one, Kamarupam, the form of lust, Durasadam, formidable or unconquerable. Durasadam, formidable or very difficult to conquer. Now let us read the translation. Krishna is saying that thus knowing. Why did he say thus knowing? Because in the previous verses, Krishna has spoken sufficiently enough about this eternal enemy called lust. So now he is concluding. Krishna is saying thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses, mind and intelligence. One should control the lower self by the higher self and thus by the spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. Insatiable means which never gets satisfied, and in the previous verses we have seen that no matter how much we try to satisfy our material desires, it never gets satisfied. So that is why Krishna is saying this is insatiable, and that is why this is the eternal enemy. Now let us read the purport of Srila Prabhupada and understand the shlok properly. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavo ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that the last verse of Karma Yoga is clearly giving us the direction to become Krishna conscious, by which we will serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By becoming Krishna conscious, one gets to know the true identity that I am a spirit soul and not this material body. Srila Prabhupada says that when we say the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it clearly means that Krishna is a person and that God is not imperson or void. Void means emptiness or something which does not have any shape. And Srila Prabhupada further says that in Bhagwat Gita chapter number 3, shlok number 22, Krishna is saying, "Na me parthaste kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam vartam eva cha karmani," which means, "O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within the all three planetary systems, nor am I in want of having anything, nor have I any need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in work." Then in the next verse, Krishna says, "Yadi hyam na varteyam jatu karmanyatandritah mam vartamanu vartante manushyaha parth sarvashah." Krishna is saying that if I do not engage in work, O Parth, then certainly all men will follow my path. Srila Prabhupada says that from these verses, it's very clear that Krishna is himself saying that he doesn't need to do any work, as he is not in want of anything, nor does he desire to possess anything in the three worlds. But still, he is working only because if he doesn't work, then all the human beings will follow him and would leave their prescribed duties, which will create a havoc in the entire world. So very clearly, Krishna is himself saying that he is only working to set an example in front of each one of us. Srila Prabhupada says that some philosophers and commentators say that God is impersonal. It doesn't have any form, that it's some kind of formless energy which is everywhere. Such people who consider God to be formless are called impersonalists. And Prabhupada has clearly rejected their theory on the basis of Bhagwat Gita. Srila Prabhupada says that impersonalists say that God is Omkar, and Krishna in Bhagwat Gita has said that he is Omkar. Prabhupada says that when we have such a beautiful Krishna who is wearing peacock feather on his head, holding a flute in his hand and standing in three bent form, then why should we try to meditate on formless Omkar? Hence it is proved that God is not formless energy. Rather, God is Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality. Now coming to today's shlok, which is the last verse in Karma Yoga, Krishna says, "Evam buddhe param buddhva sanstabhyatmana namatmana," which means that by having the knowledge that you are spirit soul and that you are higher than the material senses, mind and intelligence, you should control the lower self. Further, Krishna says, "Jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam," and by doing this, you will surely be able to conquer the most powerful enemy, which is lust. What Krishna is asking us to do? Krishna is asking us to employ the senses and mind to Krishna conscious activities. And how it will happen? It will only happen when the intelligence is employed to know Krishna. And intelligence is a superior authority. So when the superior authority will be engaged, automatically the lower authorities that is the senses and mind, will also be occupied in the service of Krishna. And by all means, this process is known as Krishna consciousness. Now let us understand why Krishna is telling Arjun to conquer lust. Krishna has clearly said that Arjun, by applying your intelligence and by controlling the mind and senses, you have to conquer the most powerful enemy of yours, which is lust. So now we need to understand that why Krishna is telling Arjun to conquer lust. So let's go a few verses back where Arjun had asked Krishna that when the individual soul is your part, which is absolutely pure as you, then why does the individual entity indulge into sinful activities? Arjun further said that it seems that the individual doesn't want to do the sinful activities, but someone forces him to do it. In shloka number 36, Arjun said, Ath kena prayukto yam papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiv niyojitah. In answer to this question, Krishna said in shloka number 36, Kam esha krodh esha rajogur samudbhavah mahashano mahapapama vidyenamih vairinam. Answering to Arjun, Krishna said that it is lust, which is born out of the mode of passion. And if this lust is not fulfilled, then it gets transformed into anger. And if fulfilled, then it gives rise to greed. This lust is all devouring, most sinful, eternal enemy of the individual entity. In the previous verses, we have discussed about the various stages of lust, which covers every individual. In case you have missed out watching them, then you must watch to have a complete understanding about this most sinful enemy. Now, all of us know that mind can be controlled by intelligence, but this lust is deadly. And Srila Prabhupada says that this eternal enemy lust can be conquered only with the help of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means becoming aware of Krishna's presence everywhere and inside every living entity as the Supreme Soul, whom we know as Paramatma. We are all individual souls, that is Atma, and Krishna is the Supreme Soul, that is Paramatma. And once we engage our intelligence to know and understand Krishna, then automatically the senses and the mind, which are lower self in comparison to intelligence and the individual soul, it starts following the higher self. That is, they all get engaged in knowing Krishna by the process of chanting, reading Bhagwat Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And once we properly understand who we are, who is Krishna, and what is my relationship with Krishna, then the person is bound to have loving relationship with Krishna and would wish to serve Krishna with love. Like for example, when a materially conscious person sees mangoes or any other fruits like grapes, lychees, watermelon or muskmelon, his mouth starts watering and he wishes to have it as soon as possible. And in the same time, in the same place, when a Krishna conscious person sees any fresh fruit or flowers, he immediately wishes to offer it to Krishna first and then accept the remnants of Krishna. This consciousness that Krishna has given us everything, whether it is fruits or flowers, grains or mountains, or valleys, or seas, or rivers, etc. etc. Krishna has given us air, water, earth, fire, and ether, or sky. And having this knowledge that everything belongs to Krishna, and that how can I wish to become the Lord or owner and wish to enjoy Krishna's creation? This is the sum total of this chapter, Karma Yoga. Srila Prabhupada says that each one of us can reach to this perfect stage of Krishna consciousness, but only by careful reading of Bhagwat Gita with complete faith and dedication. But till the time we reach to this mature level of Krishna consciousness, we must never be in haste to leave our material duties. This is exactly what Krishna has taught to Arjun in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna is teaching to Arjun to do all his duties only to please Krishna. Krishna is teaching to Arjun to do all his duties only to please Krishna and not for anything else. This is the instruction for each one of us as well, that we all need to do our duties for the pleasure of Krishna and not for our sense gratification. In true sense, this is known as Karma Yoga. And once we do everything for the pleasure of Krishna, then we are bound to make spiritual progress, which is the sole aim in human life. This is the end of the third chapter, Karma Yoga, and now we are going to start the fourth chapter, which is the transcendental knowledge. I thank each one of you for motivating me in this beautiful journey of Bhagavad Gita. We have successfully completed 3 chapters, and now it's time to step on the 4th chapter. I thank Srila Prabhupada for making us understand the most secretive knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in such simple manner. And I thank my Shiksha Guru, Hari Mohan Prabhuji, as without his guidance, I would not have understood the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai and Hari Mohan Prabhuji ki jai. Now we shall meet in the next Sunday with the first shloka of the next chapter, which is Transcendental Knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,